Connecting. Okay, I'm connecting. Yeah. Okay. The camera doesn't seem to work. Hello. Okay, integrated camera. Do you think the camera is off? No, this is off, right? Hello, Helen. No, we don't see you. I can't move it. Can you move it? Helen, hello. You raised your hand. Yes, I'm here. I'm just having trouble connecting with my camera. No, I can't. Like, this is not working. I have to go to my office then. Yes. Okay. Shall we slowly start? I can start sharing my screen. Constantina, Camila, if that's okay,
Yes.
and then we can.
Can you please check if Helen is allowed to share her video, because I got a message that says that I'm not allowed to. My camera was turned off. I see me, so I guess you all see me. You can
Yes.
see me. Okay,
Yes.
but I just got a message that it is not.
She is
Okay.
allowed. I just check. She's allowed.
Okay, good. Well, it seems that we are by the minute increasing in numbers, but I'll just slowly start the introduction of this webinar. Well, first of all, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you for joining the new edition of the Comms Lab. We are very proud of this community of communications offices, or whoever deals with communications issues in the projects. And this series of webinars and resources that we are putting together for you in consultation with you, in partnership with several partners. And we are really happy that also today, right after Easter holidays, you're already here to connect with us and explore what the options are to make your website, from setting up your website to making it stand out. This is a webinar that is okay. So we don't only have you, we also have your AI assistants. I think we're increasing also because of the AI assistants here. This webinar is done in partnership with ICPDR, and I'm very happy to welcome here our colleague, Ms. Helen Maslaya-Gigarov, that will deliver the webinar along with my colleagues. I think most of you, if not all of you, already know Maria Camilla, but we have a new entry that you may have read about in our newsletter. So Francesca is our new communications officer. She just joined early this month. So I hope that you will find her. She's very positive, like every other member of the IWLearn team, and a well-experienced communications officer. So I think she's a good addition to our team to continue our work and enhance the work of communications. So today, if you would just put the presentation on, Francesca. So Francesca will be your main contact point. Camilla is going she's going out on a short break. So from now on, for at least the next month, you will be, please write to Francesca for whatever you need. So talking about today's agenda, if you could just move to the next slide, please. So today we're going to discuss the why, the what, and the how of the project websites. You already know that setting up a project website is a mandatory requirement for every Jeff IW project. We already offer the service through IW Learn to set up your website under IW Learn and then to archive it. But there are also some other services and support that we offer. Most importantly, what are the key requirements and must-haves? If you remember the welcome guide that we issued 2 months ago, no, in March, then there we presented, we said that as part of your mandatory requirements is to have a website that is compliant to IW Learn. And here today, and with the new resource that you already received, the new website guidelines, which is a new version that we drafted with ICPDR. We have some new guidelines, very much up to date, very much reflecting today's needs and opportunities for setting up websites and making them not only functional, but also user-friendly and attractive for the users. And then the how, Helen will guide us through all these tips on how to make your website truly stand out, and of course with cases, with examples of good practices, both within the family, the Jeff International Goddess projects, but also beyond, some good examples of how to make a website stand out. And with no further ado, I'm handing over to my colleagues to start the presentation on their end. Thank you and enjoy this edition of our Comms Lab.
Thank you, Konstantina, for the intro. So as she said, I am the newest member of the team, and I'll very briefly go through the reason why we have these guidelines, basically the purpose behind them. The main reasons why we have them is so that we ensure consistency, accessibility, and quality amongst the websites that you produce. As Konstantina said, this is compulsory from your side to have them. So we might as well go a little bit beyond it and make them all consistent and make sure that they all belong to the same family of websites, let's say, so that we all show that we have something in common, basically. The guidelines will also then help you create a website which is user-friendly, which is kind of key. In the end, we create a website for the others, not just for ourselves, but we create it in a way that then is easy for other people to navigate it and to find interesting information for them. Also, the guidelines will help you make it look credible and informative by having sections that Camilla will then add on, such as resources and sections that will describe the activities you carry out throughout your project. Something else which is very important also, of course, is to guarantee the visibility also beyond the project lifecycle. So you want to make something that ensures, it's the fact that it's going to be very useful during the project duration, but we also want to look at the impact and what's happening also beyond it. So those guidelines will help you achieve those objectives. Something else that the guidelines will cover very briefly, I also like the structure, which Camilla will dive into a little bit more. The branding, by branding we mean that the fact that they should have a sort of common voice, they should have a common structure, a common, to show that they kind of belong to the same family, as I was saying earlier. And then doing this will then strengthen their outreach and the visibility they will achieve, as well as the interoperability, and enhance, therefore, data sharing and knowledge transfer, which is something key in the IW Learn projects. Also very important is we have to ensure that, of course, they are mobile friendly, you know, they have responsive to all devices, accessible for people who have maybe, you know, visually impaired or some other type of disabilities, and also make sure that the experience we produce are all inclusive. So this is the purpose, let's say, behind the creation of those guidelines, and sort of a route or, you know, map for you to follow. And then after those few words, I'll hand over to Camilla.
Thank you, Francesca. So hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. So now I will guide you through the mandatory items that all GFIW projects must comply in their websites. So next part, please. Before to going into detail, I want to remember you that all websites should clearly communicate your mission, provide essential information, and also encourage engagement from your visitors. All this being said, let's go through the mandatory requirements checklist. We have different sections. The first section, we have the funding acknowledgement, and it has two items, which are the logos and the funding statement. By the logos, we expect that you prominently and clear display in your website the project logo, if available, the GEF logo, implementing agency, executing agency, and partners. Then the funding statement. So you please state the GEF replenish period and grant. The next section will be the structure of the website. In the menu of the website, you should have the next items as a must-have. The first item is the About section. In the About section, we expect that you include the project information, project description, team members, project ID, project name, then the project activities. This section will vary depending of the project plan and work, and it might refer to capacity building activities, strengthening partnerships, any specific and relevant activities for the project should be included here. Then we have the news on events. So all the events of the project might participate or create, such as workshops, trainings, conferences, meetings, all should be included. Also, please have a calendar of events, and also the news. All the news related to the project should be included here. If your project has a newsletter, we also expect that is included there. Please keep in mind that this section is dynamic and should be regularly updated. Also, the resources, here you include key documents of the project, such as PIF project document, TDA SAP report if available, any knowledge management product from your project, and more resources. Contact information, a place when visitors can find an easy email or an easy way to connect with you and ask you questions about the project, and of course an engaging homepage. And it's very important that you know that the homepage is the entry point of your project, so it should have very clear, it should communicate very clear the purpose and the impact of your project, and it should be in a visual appealing design. The next section is about the functions, so please include a search function, social media integration, so include the links to all the social media that your project might have. Multimedia richness, make sure to include high quality pictures, videos, and infographics. Responsive design, as Francesca said before, that is compatible with all screens. Browser compatibility, again, that is compatible with different browsers. And accessibility that it compiles with the accessibility rules for websites. About performance, ensure that it has a fast loading time, and it also has a link integrity. By this, we mean that there are no broken links in your website. So make sure that all the sections of your website work properly. And last but not least, security and privacy. So secure browsing, so implement HTTPS for secure data transmission, and make sure that you comply with data privacy with all the GDPR policies for that. Next, please. So what can IWLearn do for you? Besides the websites, besides the website guidelines that we are launching today, IWLearn has also another service that is called the Website Toolkit. This Website Toolkit is a practical service that IWLearn has to help you to create your website. So you will have a website under the Integrated Management System of IWLearn. So if your project has no website yet, you can go to IWLearn Learning and Toolkits, and you will have this screen that is now in the screen, and then you will have to fill up a form. In this form, you will have to add information about the project ID, project name, also the domain that you would like to have. For the domain, you can use any domain that you want, and it will be the domain you pick .iwlearn, or because, as I said before, it's under the information management system of IWLearn. After you fill out this form, so the IWLearn IT specialist will support you in setting up the initial skeleton of your website. So you will have an initial skeleton of your website with the domain you pick, in the language you pick, and then you will get credentials to log in this website and start to populate it, tune it, and personalize it as you wish. So for this, we also, in our current website in IWLearn, here in the website toolkit, in the right side of the screen, there are a series of videos that they are worked as a tutorials. So in these videos, you can learn step by step how to edit your website, how to work with sections, how to work with the page layout, how to use the admin interface. So then you will be able to learn step by step. Next, please. So this is an example of a project that uses the IWLearn toolkit, the website toolkit. This project is the integrated management of water resources in the Mita, Mataje, Carchi, and Guaitara in Colombia and Ecuador. As you see here, they pick the domain MCG and .iwlearn.org, and they have done a really great work with the layout and with all the editing features. Something that I would like to highlight from the website toolkit is that this toolkit is simple in layout and design and function, so it makes it for anyone that has a big knowledge in web developing or IT knowledge. It makes it easy for anyone to handle it and to populate it and maintain it. So if your project has not yet a website, I invite you to go to IWLearn and to request the toolkit service. And if your project has already a website, so I invite you to go to the mandatory items to see if you're complying with the items or if you have to do any important adjustment. All that being said, I now give the floor to our colleague Helen from ICPDR to get going. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That means I can start sharing my slides, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So here we are. All right. We go. It should be working now. And let me try. Does it work? Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Great. Great. So, thank you very much to my previous speakers. First of all, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, or wherever you are. So, warm welcome to this ICPDR part of portion of the seminar. I'm going to be picking up on what's been said already, but a bit more expanding, of course, to show you basically to pick up on what we've talked about. I'm happy to sort of round up what we started at WC10 with the pre-conference workshop. Then later there was a webinar called Ready, Set, Communicate, and and so now we are just going to jump into the project website and what makes your project website not just good but genuinely impactful. Before I start, I still want to thank the team, so Constantina, Claudette, Camilla, and Francesca, and everyone else for the opportunity to connect with so many wonderful people all across the world and to help you grow your comms toolboxes. So I am going to kick up this session by talking about the how. This was previously mentioned, but like I said, I'll dive in a bit deeper. So how to actually build a website that works for you and your project. I feel that it's kind of like a cookbook, honestly. It's like planning a website is like following a recipe. If you follow a basic recipe, you'll likely end up with something that works well. So that's why the IW Learn website guidelines offer a really well-tested, step-by-step approach you can really count on. That said, just like in cooking, there's always room for a little personal flair. So your project, your voice, your audience. So please feel free to add a sprinkle of creativity to reflect your context while using the foundational tools that I'm going to be covering today. So here's a quick overview of what I'll be covering. First, we'll explore the how, like how thoughtful website design and user experience can elevate your IW project's digital presence. Then we'll go through some practical, actionable tips for structure, content, and calls to action. And finally, we'll highlight a few examples of our ICPDR website that we think gets it just right, and so that you can see these ideas in action. So I think before we get into the detail, it's always good to start with the big picture and the big question. Why does your IW project website matter? So that's obviously a rhetorical question after what's been said earlier, but I just want to say that from what I've seen over the years, I found out that it can be tempting to think of websites just as a digital filing cabinet. So basically a place to upload reports or share updates when needed. But in reality, your website is really your project's home base. It's your front door. It's where people go to understand who you are, what you're doing, and why it matters. So it's often the first stop for stakeholders, for funders, for community members and the broader public. And unlike a social media post, for example, that disappears in a long feed, your website sticks around. It has staying power. So a strong website builds credibility. It communicates your project's mission clearly. It showcases your results and it keeps your project relevant even long after the project ends. So when well done, your website doesn't just support your project, it amplifies it. So now that we've covered why websites matter for everyone, including you and your IW project, I want to present you with another question. What makes an IW website great and not just good? So while we could probably spend an entire day talking about this, I promise it's going to be short, sweet, and to the point. Breaking it down is simple. Clarity. Right from the homepage, people should understand your purpose, scope, and relevance. No mystery here. Access is another thing. It's your go-to place for updates, reports, publications, and essential project info, all in one place. Usability. It should be very easy to use, intuitive to navigate, and accessible to all users, no matter what device they are on. Longevity is another point. A good website helps your project live on. Even after your last update goes out, it's still there, sharing your work, offering lessons learned, and connecting others to what you've built. So now I can say, again, from personal experience, that I've realized the power of longevity through our own ICPDR's Joint Danube Survey website, for instance. The Joint Danube Survey is just an example. It's one of our main activities. It's one of the world's largest surface water monitoring activities, which takes place every 6 years. And we're looking at our 5th survey that's kicking off this July. The last one took place in 2019, but the first one happened in 2001. So even though the last survey was 6 years ago, the website websites for JDS5, JDS4, 3, 2, and 1 still serves as a crucial hub for info, both for the public and even for us at the ICPDR. These aren't just things that are nice to have, they are really essential for your project's impact and visibility. So now we've covered the basics. I'll just move to another really important piece, which is structure and design. This is the foundation of your website, the thing that quietly supports everything else. You should think of your homepage as your welcome mat at home. It's like the first thing that visitors see. So make sure that it clearly communicates what your project is about and why it matters. Ideally, someone should land on your site and within just a few seconds understand your purpose. Your homepage should do the heavy lifting by answering the what, the who, and the why for your project in under 10 seconds. And when it comes to navigation, I can only say that less is more. So you should use clear, simple menus that keep the structure intuitive and make everything easy to find. So stick to the basics, main pieces of information about the project, news or updates about the project, resources and publications related to the project, contact information for the project. And then we need to give some love to that search bar. It's really, for me, a functional, easy to spot search bar can make the difference between a visitor finding what they need and giving up entirely. So I'm sure you've all had this experience of looking for something on a website to no avail, and then all of a sudden remembering, here, the search bar, there you are, voila. So the goal is to make sure that the user experience is so smooth that people don't even think about where to click. They just flow naturally from one section to another. Now let's talk about how your site actually feels to use. So that's where user experience or UX comes in, because if your website doesn't work for everyone, it simply doesn't work at all. So we'll start with something that's non-negotiable in 2025. It's mobile optimization. Most people today are browsing on their phones or tablets. Some of you might even be following this conversation actually from a tablet. So if your website doesn't load properly or looks jumbled on smaller screens, you're just going to lose that audience before they can even engage with your content. So here's a simple challenge, maybe after this call, that you just check for yourself, pull up your site on your phone right after this, and what do you see? Is it fast? Is it easy to scroll? Are the buttons and links clickable without zooming in? Next, accessibility. If you've joined us in our Comms Clinic, for example, at the DRWC 10 last September, then you already have a good understanding of accessibility, because we had our colleague Tara Gabriel speak about that. It's basically accessibility is everything. A good website is one that works for everyone. That means alt text for images, so screen readers can describe them, strong contrast between text and background, clear fonts that are easy to read, navigation that works even without a mouse. So basically, making your site more accessible isn't just the right thing to do. It actually improves the experience for all users. And that's exactly what good communication is about. And now we're going to shift to something we all care about, which is content. So one thing that's helpful to remember is that you write for your audience and not for yourself. Your website content should feel fresh and purposeful and communicating your project's mission. You can share updates, milestones, any results in plain language. So avoid the jargon and those terrible acronyms that most of our sciencey colleagues love so much. Next thing, structure. Long paragraphs are not your friend. People scan, so be sure to break it up with short blocks of text, clear headlines, and bullet points whenever possible. A good mix of text and visuals will help to add variety and to keep things simple and clear. If the most recent update is from 2021, you understand that it's time for a refresh. So even adding small updates regularly, like a new event, a quote, or recent achievement, it's going to help your site look active and relevant. And now this is something that you will remember if you've joined a previous webinar. And it's something that we talk about a lot, and you should have a good grasp of it now. It's CTAs. Let's talk CTAs, calls to action. These are your friendly prompts that guide your visitors to make the next steps. So some good examples are Download our latest reports, subscribe to our newsletter, explore our map, contact us to learn more. So CTAs help your audience engage more deeply with your work. They're little bridges from curiosity to connection. Another important thing is this famous saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And that's definitely true for websites. So, but only if the visuals are actually helping to tell your story. So I think now is a good time to talk about visuals, to be honest about them, because what you're showing is just as important as what you're saying. Visual storytelling helps you to make your content easier to understand, makes your project's messages more engaging, much more engaging. So here are a few tips from us. Use high quality compressed images, no pixelated banners or huge files that slow down your site. Infographics, maps, and short videos, they can be great additions, but you need to make sure that they add value and don't just overwhelm your page. And don't be afraid of white space. I mean, giving your content room to breathe, getting rid of that visual clutter that can make your website feel calmer and easier to digest. So more is always better here. And then you need to choose visuals that support your message and not distract from it. So now that we've talked about what to do, I want to take a second to talk about what to avoid, because even small things can quietly undermine the impact of your site. Here, I would say there are 5 common issues we've probably all seen on websites that you want to avoid. Overloading your website with too much text or way too many visuals all at once. Navigations that are confusing, inconsistent, broken links, or outdated posts, especially ones that make your site look abandoned. Outdated or non-responsive websites. This can really damage your credibility and also reduce the reach of your website. Missing contact info or no clear way to take action. These CTAs are not there. These things happen easily over time, so especially when a website is not reviewed regularly. So I would say it's an easy fix. Most of these issues are quick wins because they're all things that you can fix with just a little attention and just a little bit of time to spare. Even tidy up your homepage or checking for broken links, that can make a massive difference. So you can take this as a permission to do a little spring cleaning of your website if needed. What are the takeaways from all this? The 3 key lessons that can help you guide your own IW project website, whether you're starting from scratch or thinking about updates. Keep it simple and intentional. A good website focuses on what really matters, your audience and your message. Avoid clutter and lead with clarity. Build for now and for the future. Your website should serve your project while it's active, but it should also be a lasting resource. Design your structure and content to remain useful long after your project ends. Your website should reflect your professionalism, whether you're working with high-level stakeholders or curious community members. A clean, strategic site communicates credibility, transparency, and care. I know this seems like small points, but believe me, together they shape the impression you leave and how your work is remembered. Now I just want to take a quick moment to look at a very practical checklist you can use after this webinar. It's just a simple tool to help you review your own site with fresh eyes. And also don't feel stressed on write this down. It's all in the handouts material that you can add to your overall toolkit. So questions like, ask yourself, does your homepage clearly state your project's purpose? Is your navigation clean, logical, and easy to follow? Are you updating the site regularly? Is it mobile friendly and fast to load? Do your visuals support the content or distract from it? Are your CTAs easy to find and understand? Is your contact information visible and up to date? So you don't need to get everything perfectly right away, but at least, try to look at 1 or 2 small things that you can improve, and that can already a big step forward. And now I want to highlight some of the tools we're putting in your hands after this session. These are the things you can use right away to build or improve your IW project website. First up, the IW website guidelines template. That's a step-by-step reference. It walks you through everything from structure and content planning to accessibility and navigation navigation. If you're not sure where to start or just want a guide to check your work against this is really a great place to begin. Then we've got the website audit checklist, which is a super practical tool where you can use to spot gaps, identify quick wins, and prioritize what to tackle next. You don't have to fix everything overnight, but this helps you make smart, intentional progress. And finally, we encourage you to have a look around and explore other successful project sites. They're a very good source of inspiration. Seeing what others are doing well can be a real good source of inspiration. It has been for us. So you can always adapt what works and make it your own. So these are tools that can support you, whether you're planning your first project website or just making small updates over time. And before I wrap up and move on to the next section, where I'll be briefly discussing the ICPDR website as a tangible example, I just want to ask if there is anything you want to share now, or Francesca and Camilla, should I continue with my slides? Because I prepared these few questions, like what's working on your current website, if there is something you're proud of, layout, structure that helps users. So share, where are you still facing challenges, or any great website examples you can think of to highlight. I can also continue, Francesca, and then we can address those at the end. Up to you.
Sure. I just see that there's a question in the chat, which I don't know whether it's relevant for you to answer now, Helen. Like, I see a question from Vivienne.
Okay, I would say perhaps.
Do you see it?
Yeah. No, I do not see it. Question
one was if you see the question, and if not, we can, I suppose that can be answered later at the end of the webinar.
Yeah, exactly. If that's okay, I think that would be easier if I finish the slides. Yeah. I don't have much, but it's a good thing that people are interacting. And like I said, they can also think of the questions that are on this slide, and we can go back to it afterwards.
Super.
So real quick, I want to give an insight into the ICPDR learnings, what we've done at the ICPDR for our website, and what's been truly insightful for us, and we're happy to share. So a few years ago, we realized that our website needed an overhaul. It was full of good content with an emphasis on full, but it wasn't mobile friendly, it was tricky to navigate, and it didn't really reflect our current communications values. So we really underwent a full revamp, a real website redesign. So, and this is the main parts that we focused on. So we migrated to a new content management system, Drupal. That's not really known, Drupal 5. It's not really known to everyone, but it's very, very good and really easy for editing and updates. We introduced responsive design for phones and tablets. We improved accessibility with alt text, clear contrast, and screen reader compatibility. We streamlined the website structure and the menus for better navigation. I'll show you examples of that. We refreshed the layout for cleaner, more readable content presentation, and we really modernized the overall look and feel. So these updates very much match the IWLearn website guidelines, especially the focus on user experience, sustainability, and accessibility. And the result is, I hope you'll agree with me, a site that is more user-friendly, up-to-date, and aligned with the ICPDR's mission. So here you see screenshots from the old ICPDR website. The image on the left was from our old homepage, which definitely needed some refinement in making it easier to process and find what you're looking for. And the design was quite outdated. The pages were very text-heavy and visually cluttered. The navigation was not intuitive, and it wasn't clear where to find the documents, key documents, and updates. So we acknowledged that it would feel overwhelming. It could feel overwhelming to many of our visitors. On the top right, I've included a table showing the main elements we chose to focus on in the redesign that I just mentioned earlier, with notes on whether we restructured, redesigned, or added new features. That was also a really useful orientation for us. So this planning stage, in my opinion, was critical because it helped us make sure we stayed intentional and avoided just moving content around without improving the actual user experience. And here's a look at the new ICPDR website today following the redesign. So you see the homepage is clean and streamlined, and at the top we have a simplified menu, Danube Basin, about ICPDR, tasks and topics and libraries, so that makes it much easier for users to orient themselves right away. The second screenshot shows what happens when you click on the library tab. Just as an example, you'll notice content is now neatly organized by type: news and media, publications, legal documents, maps and data. So that makes it easier for people to find exactly what they're looking for. I've also put an example of our CTAs, of our call to action. Very easy one. We have it at the bottom of our website, inviting visitors to sign up for our newsletter to stay in the loop. So it's clearly laid out, easy for them to know what to do. So altogether, these changes have made our website, we think and we hope, more effective, more professional, and more enjoyable to use, both for our team and for our global audience. So that brings me to the end of my talk. So I'll stop here and I'll take questions. I want to thank you again to the IW Learn team for organizing this webinar. I want to thank you all for being here, for sharing your time, and looking forward to hearing your insights and your curiosity. And I just want to say that it's been really a pleasure to participate in these previous webinars, also in the communications activities. I'm really happy that communications is really taking such an important place in the portfolio of IW5. And Konstantina, here you're appearing again, and you're definitely the driving force behind this. So thank you very much. And yeah, I hope this session will leave you informed, inspired, and ready to take the next step, whether it's updating your site or just starting it from the ground up. And yeah, of course, we look forward to hear from you, and thank you again for your attention.
Yes, well, thank you very much, Helen. Unfortunately, I think it's a technical glitch, the reason why we could not see you. But we could hear you perfectly, and thank you very much for your true insights and valuable. Oh, finally, you're here. Now you're here. You stop sharing and you're here. You're muted, Helen.
Okay, no, I have no idea. I see an empty screen in front of me. I'm really sorry. Teams is playing games with me. I don't know. It's not really working these days. Sorry.
Okay.
But at least you could see my slides, right? Or
perfectly see your slides and listen to you. Okay. I think it was a bit of a very dense content in a bit of a speedy rate, but let's see, how the audience responds. But before that, I think we have some further examples from our end, Camilla and Francesca. Apart from this great example of how you transformed the old ICPDR website, which is a reference for us, how to change the website into a new version. I think we have some further examples from from the portfolio to share, right? Francesca, are you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we do. I can just quickly share what Camilla and I put together. And then with Camilla, we can go through those two examples specifically, if that's okay. Just a second. Okay. Let me know if you see the screen. Do you see it?
Yes, please, but you need to put it in presentation mode. Yes,
Yep.
That's fine.
Mhm.
Okay. Sure. Camilla, if you want to support me on this one, specifically, we spotted a couple of websites that fulfill the guidelines that Camilla showed you, that Camilla presented earlier. One of them is this Spread Pacífico Sostenible. And we liked it specifically, Camilla, I mean, we liked it because of the, it has a clear menu, it's clearly referenced, the logos are very prominent, the structure is very clear. So you can also navigate to pacificosostenible.org to kind of to check it out yourself. Would you like to add anything else, Camilla, about this one specifically?
No, I think that they comply with all the mandatory requirements also from the guidelines, and visually it's very appealing. It's a nice website. We really enjoy it.
Yeah, you can see, as Helen was saying, like, the text is limited and it kind of uses mainly like keywords, and then the visuals themselves, you can see the pictures are of the highest quality. as the one we see behind this, the hero, which is like the top of the website in this specific case, but we see the whale. Then if I can show another example. Anyway, both examples are also in the guidelines that you can find on the IW Learn website. So you can see them also, you can click on them, and there's actually a few more examples on the guidelines specifically. So these are just two that we selected for this specific presentation. About this one, which is Common Oceans Program, we also enjoyed the fact that it's very clear, it's very neat, as also Helen was saying, when it comes to, you know, the white space that some people think, oh, we're not using the space correctly. No, don't worry. Like, you are using it correctly by not using it. So it kind of makes it easier for the human eye to kind of absorb the information. And then if you put too much information into a limited amount of space, then you're very unlikely that the person visiting your site will then know exactly what to do, what to read, because it could be she could be overwhelmed with information. So it's better to stick to key information, basically. And a specific example. So here we have the news, for example, and we see, like, again, we have a very nice image with the title and a short description of what you can see within this piece of news. Again, clarity, you see newsroom, what we do, knowledge hub, partners in the top, with quite a, you know, a pretty big font also, so it kind of makes it even more legible. And the little arrows next to newsroom and what we do show the user that you can click on them, and a drop-down menu will appear. So it's kind of it's very clear for the user what can be done and what can be visited from just like a few moments of looking at the site. And again, the pictures are very nice, as you can see also what they use in the what we do, and the highlights. The photos used are of the highest quality. Do not worry too much about, oh, I don't have a photographer on board, because there's many platforms you can use to get you know, photos with you know, high quality photos. So you don't need to have a photographer in your team to do this. And yeah, anything else we can add about this one specifically, Camila? Or
I think you said all. Yeah.
Okay. If there's anyone who has questions in the, or Helen, if you want to add anything else. But and the logo is also very prominent. You can see them on the top right of the menu. Yeah, so if anyone, I will stop sharing the screen now, unless there's questions specifically on these two projects. But I would then stop sharing my screen, and then since the group today is only about 30 plus 32 people, maybe we can just, if you have questions specifically to this topic, you can just unmute yourself and ask. These, of course, are the links. If you want to follow IW Learn on social media, then, or contact us, these are the links you should use. Okay, I see a hand was raised. Viviane, you had a question. Actually, that was mainly for Helen. So if that's the question you want to ask also now.
Yeah, that's a question that I want to ask. And thank you very much for the presentations. Really inspiring. And we are definitely motivated to look at our website. The question that I posted in the chat was basically, because I've done a few GEF projects now, and the thing that we often struggle with is the host institutions or the implementing institutions sometimes do not want us to have project-specific websites. Sometimes, obviously, they relate it to the sustainability beyond the projects. But I wanted to understand, particularly from ICPDR, how you've done that. Do you have a website for the institution? And then how do you incorporate the project-specific information, or do you have two separate websites, or how do you deal with it?
Okay, that's an excellent question. Thank you very much. It's basically, so we administer our own website, so the ICPDR website, but for projects, what we do is we integrate them in sub-pages. For example, we had that previously. We don't always do that with all our projects because it depends sort of what the nature of our involvement in the project is. But there's usually a part of our website that's dedicated to it. And other than that, we create landing pages with very basic information, and we always connect with the subsection of our website. So let's say, for example, I'm taking the example of the WePass project, which was a project about allowing fish migration at the Iron Gate in between Serbia and Romania. So a very difficult area for fish migration, with a huge dam on the way, with the Iron Gate dam. So we basically had an information under the theme fish, for example, fish migration, river basin management. And we, in each of these parts of our website, we presented the project. So there was like a sort of like a part of the website that was dedicated, there was a section that was dedicated to the project. And then we linked to a landing page. But that's all we do, because we simply don't have the means to have more than that. So that's how it works. I hope that answers your question. And then we communicate, of course, in other places, so less on websites and more on social media channels, etc. Yeah. Okay, it looks like it was an answer that you were looking for, Vivian. Very good.
If I may intervene here, Vivian, I think one of your questions, and I understand that some organizations are not keen to create new websites, but the options usually here are two. Either you create a website under IWLearn through the website toolkit, or you can integrate it as many, for example, UN organizations that have a separate page on the project, like a mini site, under their organization. This very much depends on the modalities of each organization, and of course how the project is implemented, what are the implementation modalities, etc. So you can explore either of these options. We understand it's an issue of sustainability, not only in terms of maintenance and paying, for domain names, all the hosting, etc., but it's also an issue of maintenance, especially after the project lifetime. And this is the reason why IWLearn is offering this service of creating a website under IWLearn, because once the project is finished, then it is automatically archived. So if your organization is unwilling to explore the option of hosting the website under the project website under the organization, then you can always explore our option of IWLearn. It's a free service, so make the best out of this service. And over to the next questions. I'm handing over, Francesca, to you. Do you have any further questions? Or handing over, Francesca, please take over.
Sorry. Yeah, I don't see any more questions in the chat, but if anyone else here today would like to add or anything to the, would like to add anything to the presentation, or would like to ask anything about what we said, or maybe needs further clarifications on something that we mentioned throughout the presentation, please unmute yourself or raise your hands and then let us know. We will, of course, as the meeting has been recorded, so it will be uploaded to our website together with the presentation itself. But if you would like to understand better what is user experience, what is it that, what is a high quality picture, what is white space, what is, I don't know, anything that comes to mind, or what is a CTA because you forgot what it was, and feel free to use the space also to to maybe dive more into, the website jargon, or what is really what should appear on a website. Or if you want to share your website, and we can do a quick online check and see if it fulfills the compulsory requirements we discussed. We can also do a quick audit. We have some time till the end of this meeting. Or not. So it's really up to you.
No, yeah, well, I think we have either an audience that just came back from holidays, or they are just checking. Now they are cross-checking with the checklist to see if they are doing well. Let me reiterate here that for us in IW Learn, it is our role to support you to make the best out of your project, to enhance your outreach, to increase your outreach, to stand out, to reach out to other audiences, to inform your stakeholders, and of course, help you amplify your impact on the ground. As part of this is also the website creation service. For those that have been around for quite some time, that you may notice that we went from a very detailed, a bit old-fashioned now, I mean, seeing this in the eyes of 2025 website guidelines, into something that is very contemporary, that is been the hard work of Hélène and the ICPDR team, having been through this transformation of their own website. But also it follows all the work that we are doing in IW Learn. Several of you are already aware and have been invited to contribute to the consultations on the new IW Learn website. So ourselves, as a service, IW Learn is going through the same process. So we are currently exploring how to make the new website of IW Learn more attractive, more user-friendly. So it's not just a checklist for you, it's a checklist also for us. And we have thoroughly discussed it and explored, what the best options are on how to make a website contemporary, attractive, user-friendly, appealing, and making sure that it is clear enough and it gets your message across. It was the first statement that Hélène made, make sure that it gets the message across. We live in an era that everything is very fast, it's really speedy. So people just take a glance and then they move on, unless they are looking for something specific on your website. So it is your opportunity to present, the best version, of your communications. And of course, to comply with the criteria. The criteria are not, we presented the mandatory criteria there in the checklist that you will receive, or you will find in the website guidelines. And the reason for that is that us, as IW Learn, we are reporting back to the GEF on the number of websites, project websites that are compliant with the guidelines that we are issuing. So we would appreciate that you take the time to check that you comply with the mandatory requirements. And of course, if you need any help or any advice, I think this community is getting stronger and stronger, and you are meeting regularly through our webinars, and we would also like to propose that we meet as a comms team, that you meet also regularly, just to discuss, your challenges or your opportunities when it comes to communications. And of course, the whole IW Learn team, we have new capacities in the team. So, and they are all available, to support you. And we have a question by Diana. Diana, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the presentation. I have a question. I just joined UNOPS project in Mexico, and my manager was the person who passed the information about this webinar to me. How do I get your information directly if I'm the comms assistant for the project? I mean the invitation.
Okay, for now, I'm just putting here the email of the IW Learn PCU. Please just send us an email, and with the details, of which project you are working on, and we will add you in the mailing list. And of course, you can already, if you go to our website on the homepage, you can already register for the newsletter, which is a wider list. It's not just a project list. It's a wider list, and you will receive already later today. You will receive your first newsletter. But please reach out to us, and then we will connect you with our comms people, and we will direct you to all the comms materials that we have already shared. Helen already mentioned the communications toolkits that were developed in partnership with ICPDR. And Grid Arental, and of course the website guidelines that we just issued, and any other resources, and of course the community, the comms community.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure and welcome. I think there was another question by Erika. Yes, Erika, there's a question whether you can reach out to us. Please do. This is the role of IW Learn, to support you, to support the projects and the portfolio. So if you have any questions, either to the PCU or directly to Francesca and Camilla, just note that Camilla is taking a break for a month or so, and she will be back in a month, I would say. So Francesca would be your main contact point on communications only. If not, just send it to pcu@iwlearn.org, and we will make sure that the right person from the team responds.
That's great. Thank you so much, and thank you for the presentation as well.
Pleasure, Erika. There's a question from Nicole about the terminal evaluation, saying, how is the website used in the terminal evaluation? Yeah. Well, I think it's a very specific question on the terminal evaluation, Nicole. I'm not sure I understand. It says, any advice on finding the balance of private information for the evaluators versus public information for other audiences? If you're talking about the terminal evaluation, the report of the terminal evaluation, this is a public document. So make sure that when you upload the terminal evaluation report, is the version that can go public. And just a reminder here, please note that if you go back to the IW Learn guidelines, please note that it is mandatory for all projects to share this documentation with us. Not only to have it on your website, but also it is mandatory in your project fees, where your project is presented under the IW Learn website. There is the mandatory documentation, including the PIF, the project document, and these of course key reports, the midterm review and the terminal evaluation report. If you have any specific information on that, we can discuss it on the site, Nicole. Please reach out to us. We can set up a meeting and we can discuss all the questions that you have on the terminal evaluation.
Thank you so much. It's very useful. I think, our project is coming to an end this year. So that's why I'm already in the terminal evaluation mindset. But I think my question was also about, in terms of the website being useful for the evaluators. I think we're just trying to find that balance of what deliverables we put on the website to make sure that it's accessible for all audiences, and then that kind of balance of information that's useful for the evaluators to kind of use it as a legacy of the project, but then also for it to still be useful for other audiences. So I think we're just trying to find that balance, but I'll definitely reach out for some more advice on the terminal evaluation. So thank you so much for that.
Pleasure, but please make sure you know that when you have key deliverables that are important knowledge products, don't keep them only for yourselves and your websites. Please make sure that you share them with IW Learn, because the community needs to learn from you, from all of you. This is why we have issued these calls for case studies, where we are documenting, for example, tools. We are documenting the work that you're doing either on technical areas or through integrated approaches, but also in cross-cutting areas like gender equality and social inclusion, but also there will be several calls coming up where you can document your experience. But again, if you have important, or whenever you have important knowledge products, please share them with IW Learn. There might be someone, in another region, another project looking for this specific knowledge. And of course, we can, amplify your efforts for outreach to reach out to a much bigger audience than the one of your own website, of your own project. Handoko, you had a question?
Hi, Konstantina, Camilla, and Francesca, and Helen. Thank you for this opportunity. I think it's really interesting for us, and because I believe communication is key, and then we need to, optimize, various channels to promote our works, and that from the site level, from national, regional, and global. So that's why I really interesting to join. Even maybe I'm not the communication team, So, but I will share with my communication team here with ATSI. Just to inform everyone that ATSI 2 just concluded last December. It's already beyond project. But then the good news is like the 4 countries, Australia, Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, and Timor-Leste, committed to continue the program. So currently, Konstantina, we are supported and from we got support from Australia and Papua New Guinea to continue the regional secretariat. So even the SC2 is finished, just last December. While we are preparing another PIF to get another funding, maybe it's quite long, maybe another 2 years, I don't know. But then now I'm still here with ATSI, for the next maybe 2 years, because recently we received funding from Australia in Papua New Guinea. So from that case, we would like to revamping our website. From the project website into we call it ATSI program. I just put our website in the chat box, So I think there are two points here. So I would like to receive, I don't know whether, Helen's or from Konstantina team, Camilla and Francesca, can advise us what points we need to improve from our website. We would like to revamp it, and because now it's become ATSI program, not project anymore. So the second, because this is beyond the project, Konstantina, so whether I still can communicate and consult with you and your team on how we get better idea. I really interesting your talk, Helen, but then I don't know, for me, it's like, the taste of each person is different, right? From your perspective, for example, this is good, this is high, but then maybe I have different tastes. For example, I like this website, but then you don't like this website. I think, but then at least we have what do you call it? Yeah, Camila mentioned about mandatory information, but then like and dislike is I think is also sometimes different, right? So, but at least from our website, from ATSI, if you have any advice or yeah on how to make it better, we are welcome. I will stop there. Thank you, Konstantina and colleagues.
Thank you. So we'll take a look at your site. Yeah.
Yeah.
And scan it and see. Okay, cool.
Yeah. We will revamping the website, yeah, because it's now it's like the time from the project base to program.
It's true, and Camila is also with
It's
Camila we
okay.
actually checked your site.
Yeah, no need this time,
As a
but
good
maybe
practice.
later on you can share with us via email or yeah, and we welcome. And then in these 3 months we will revise and revamp the website. That's why it's a good opportunity to have this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Handoko. Well, first of all, good news is that you are still there, and you will continue the work, and of course prepare for a new phase for a work that is very important in this part of the world, in this region, and we really hope that you will get into a new PIF and to a new project cycle sooner than later. And yes, I think once we are also in this situation ourselves, as I said, because we're going for a major revamp of the IWLearn website. So would gladly have a look, and of course offer our voluntary and personal opinions, on what can be. It's already a good example for us, but it's also very interesting that you see, apparently I understand that you're going from a project to a program, but it's also important and also a lesson for the others to see a website that we already consider a good practice, a good and attractive website that has all the elements that are required, that you're already looking into revamping it and improving it. I think it's a lesson for all of us that in a fast-changing era, we should be considering, changes much faster than in the past. In the past, I think all the organizations used to keep their websites for like 10 years or even more. And then they would consider, a change. And now we see that changes are required much faster. Helen, I see you nodding, so.
Yes, absolutely, Konstantina. If I may come in, I think that's exactly you're saying. I'm in full agreement with what you're saying, and this is why I gave the example, for example, of the JDS websites, because it's like that. We have we renew the website every time. So for JDS 1, 2, 3, 4, we've had a new website. Now we're on JDS 5. So again, the URL remains the same. It's danubesurvey.org. But you have a repository where you can actually go and access the old website. So that's also very useful. Yeah. And there's one thing that I would add, something really simple. I for example, my sort of day of dealing with this kind of stuff is like Friday morning. I take like a few hours to check my socials, to review the content. And this is when once a month with your team, you should also look at your website. It's like a very quick thing, but it's much better than having to fix a lot of things. So that's also, as Konstantina said, we live in a very, fast-paced world, and we don't have so much time. So putting a little bit of time aside for your website is really brings you great returns on investment. Believe me, if I can share this advice.
Thank you very much for this tip, Helen. It really makes sense. You just break it down in small chunks, and it's easier than, looking at a big mountain there and you don't know where to start. Do we have any other questions? Please make sure, Camila, would you please put again the link to the resources, to the website guidelines? Please make sure that you check these resources. They are much, it's a very concise, very dense document, but truly to the point, very actionable. Do this, don't do that, with checklists, first of all, on what would make your website compliant with the IWLearn website guidelines, but then some real checklists on how, what you can improve, on your website. A reality check where you're standing and whether, what changes you should be looking into in case you see, after you do the audit yourself, what changes that you should be looking into. I think from our end, we don't have any further inputs. We remain at your disposal. All of our emails at IWLearn, UNESCO, the whole team is available to support you. And I see Helen very, thank you, Helen, for sharing your details and offering to the portfolio to reach out to you if they have any further questions. As I said, ICPTR and Grid Rental are our valuable partners in communications. And as you have already seen, we are indeed putting a lot of emphasis in IWLearn 5 on communications. It's one thing doing the job and another thing, talking about it. If you only do the job and you don't talk about it, you don't communicate it, unfortunately, it won't reach out, to the right ears, to the right decision makers. So make sure that you make the best out of your communication skills, tools, means, anything, to amplify your efforts and your impact. With that, I think from our end, we can say goodbye for now and see you in the next edition. If you would like to propose any, we already have some options in mind. We have a new, a new generation, or we have some new entries in the family, the Jeff IW family, that come with a journalist background. So we would like to dedicate one of the upcoming webinars into reaching out to journalists and how you speak, from not only from the press announcements, but eventually, how you reach out to journalists. How do you make them write about your projects, about the impact of your project? So this is one of the options of the upcoming webinars. But if you have any other preferences, please add them here or reach out to us and tell us what you would like to see in the next edition of the Comms Lab. Until then, thank you very much for joining today, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.